The motion is adopted.
On March 27th, the House passed the biggest stimulus package in American history, and included in it was more than $350 billion for small businesses.
We're going to keep our small businesses strong and our big businesses strong, and that's keeping our country strong and our jobs strong.
But for many small business owners, it's simply not enough.
I mean, if you look at it, it's a white-collar, work-from-home, kind of executive or senior employee protection program. It is not a blue-collar, very small business, Main Street business protection program.
Liza Fox and Michael Campbell opened a children's play zone in 2017, and shortly after, they expanded it to include a co-working space. Elemento is just a few blocks away from Congress in Washington, D.C.'s Capitol Hill neighborhood, and since expanding, it's become a one-stop shop for families to work, learn, and relax. After successfully growing the business for 3 years, the couple had started on plans to expand. But like millions of small business owners around the country, Liza and Michael had to close up shop in mid-March as the coronavirus pandemic swept the country. They've suspended all of their membership dues, which means there's no incoming revenue and they're still on the hook for all of the outgoing costs. And due to the nature of their business, there was no way for them or their 4 employees to work from home.
We have some of the same employees we had when we opened. They're part of the extended family. When we shut down, we of course gave us as much notice as we had that it was going to happen. And with no income, we have limited options for continuing to pay them. Now we already offered paid time off and some other benefits. And then we're going to provide another paycheck out of the business's coffers for this next 2 weeks. So we'll have had another full month's pay, but that's with zero income on our end and without any government assistance coming through either yet.
It's vitally critical that these small businesses are able to make it through.
Mark Zandi is a chief economist at Moody's Analytics.
There's 7.8 million business establishments across the United States. Only 20,000 of them have more than 500 employees. So the vast majority of businesses out there are so-called small business. If you add up all the jobs, working at companies with fewer than 500 employees is about half of all of the jobs in the United States. So it's a big chunk of the economy. If you're less than 50 employees, that accounts for roughly 25% of all jobs in the country. If you have less than 4 employees, about 4.5 million of them have fewer than 4 employees. So the vast majority of businesses, companies out there are very, very small, less than a handful of people.
The CARES Act is offering small businesses 2 things. First is something known as the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, loans designed to keep employees on payrolls for 8 weeks. And that will be forgiven if companies retain or rehire most of their employees. It also says that the loan can be used for other costs. But the caveat is that only 25% can be used on things like rent or utilities in order to meet the criteria for the loan to be reimbursed. The other support offered in the bill is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, and that promises up to $10,000 in grants for eligible applicants. But as Liza and Michael found out after applying, companies are only able to receive $1,000 per each employee, half of what they were expecting.
Okay, Alexander, you ready to go down?
While these 2 programs do provide limited relief for Elemento, the couple argues that the aid is mainly supporting their employees, and it is not going to keep the business alive for their workers to return to.
Everything you see in this pie chart is fixed except for about 3% that has a little bit of variability in supplies. But our rent is this blue, 49% of our monthly expenses. And that's high, we recognize that, but our rent is our space, and our space is our product. Our payroll is the orange. That's strictly payroll. That's not us as business owners getting any payments. And then the others are fixed expenses. None of those things go away even though our door is closed. So with the government programs that we have applied for and hope to receive, that does help us with this payroll chunk with the orange 29%. That's great because we love our employees and we want to help them through this tough time. That also is the only thing we had any flexibility on in the first place. So unfortunately, if we needed to, we could lay off our employees and save that 29%. It doesn't help us with the other 71% of our fixed monthly expenses. The $10,000 economic injury disaster loan advance would help, of course. It would cover this chunk, this assorted others, for less than 2 months, that $10,000. Or it wouldn't cover even 1 month of our rent.
At the heart of one of Liza and Michael's complaints is who gets the money. They say it benefits companies with large payroll costs and only provides limited aid to cover rent and utilities, which is essential for small Main Street businesses to survive.
It really is the burden of unemployment passed on to us because we have all the administration, right? We're doing all the applying. We've got lots of back and forth, lots of stress between trying to figure out which bank will offer it to us. At the end of the day, we pass the money to our employees and we are closed.
You're a company where you don't have many employees, you're not going to benefit as much. But from a broader macroeconomic perspective, I do think it makes sense to be focused on workers and making sure that businesses hold on to those workers. We got to avoid business failures and bankruptcy. I mean, that's going to be really key, because if a lot of these businesses go out of business, if they fail, if they go bankrupt, unemployed workers won't have a business to go back to when the virus passes, and it'll diminish our economy.
In mid-April, the $350 billion loan program for small businesses ran out of money. A fresh round of aid is being negotiated by lawmakers, but details are not yet clear. In the short term, the family can get by. Their landlord said they could defer payment on 1 month's rent, plus Michael gets income from another startup that's not been hit by the crisis so far. The immediate question on the minds of small business owners like Liza and Michael is what the next round of aid will do to keep their businesses alive and support the economic recovery.
Every contract we have to sign have personal guarantees from us as individuals. We can't file Chapter 11 as a corporation. So if the business is not able to survive, not only are we out a job and out our investment in the business, but we are personally liable for these debts that we have no control